One of the things we occasionally come across as assessors is the belief that PCI DSS requirements can be treated a little more like a risk assessment rather than a compliance check against requirements. And as such, there's this belief that develops that the compliance status of a requirement can be determined based on the risk level rather than the actual requirement itself in full. With the release of PCI DSS 4.0 comes a new ROC, or Report on Compliance, template FAQ. Under section 4.0, assessment findings, it mentions only 5 defined responses a QSA can pick for any particular requirement. They are either in place with remediation, not applicable, not tested, or not in place. As per the FAQ, for something to be marked in place, the expected testing has been performed and all the elements of that requirement have been met. Adversely, something marked as not in place shows some or all the elements of the requirement have not been met and are in the process of being implemented or require further testing before it can be known if they are in place. Not in place is also used if a requirement cannot be met due to legal restriction, meaning that the meeting of that requirement would contravene a local or regional law or regulation. In place with remediation differs from in place with a CCW used in version 3.2.1. Now it's defined as the requirement was not in place at some point during the assessment period, but where the entity remediated the issue that the requirement was in place before the completion of the assessment. An example would be that a security patch was not applied for 30 days, or unintentional storage of unencrypted PAN, which were later rectified prior to the assessment period ending. Which brings us to not applicable or not tested. What's the difference between not applicable and not tested? Well, using the example of wireless, an organization that does not use wireless technology in any capacity, an assessor could select not applicable for some requirements after the assessor confirms through testing that there are no wireless technologies used in the organization's CDE or to connect to the organization's CDE. However, if the requirement is completely excluded from the review without any consideration as to whether it would apply, the not tested option must be selected. As mentioned earlier, the PCI DSS version 4.x ROC template FAQs is certainly worth a review for further insight into PCI DSS 4.0. Once again, if you have any questions you want answered, please feel free to post a comment or get in touch with us, and we'll make it a subject of a later episode. Thanks for watching.